The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
With that, we will open it up and now get started with our call. We'll be joined by Coach Maynard with the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Do we have Coach Maynard on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you, and as always, thank you for taking some time out your busy day to jump on the call with us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent win, a 43-41 victory over Alabama State in the Magic City Classic.
Yes, sir. It was everything we thought it was going to be. You know, the Classic is the Classic, and we still had a lot of people show up even though we had some inclement weather. So we want to thank all those people that showed up. But it was a great game, exactly what we expected. We got off to a good start, 7-0, and we got a block punt, and we weren't able to get anything out of it. And they just kept fighting, and then they got a long touchdown pass that tied up 7-7. Then they blocked the punt and scored, Scoopman scored, and went up 14-7. Then they drove down and scored again and went up 21-7. And so it looked like, you know, we might have a chance to go up a couple of scores. We wound up being down a couple of scores going into halftime. So, you know, we was ready to get into halftime and regroup and kind of see what was going on. And when we got there, we just thought that, you know, we busted coverage on the first touchdown. We gave them a block on the second one. And so we felt that we was playing pretty good on defense. Offense, we just had to take advantage of some opportunities. And then the weather cleared up the second half. And we came out of the second half and got a couple of touchdowns to get it to overtime. You know, overtime was just a great overtime session, man. 3 sessions where both teams scored all 3 times touchdowns, and then we had to go for a 2 on the third one, of course, and we got ours, and they didn't get theirs. So it was a great football game, well coached. Coach Ely did a great job having his guys prepared, and it was everything we could ask for, man. And at the end of the day, we made one more play than they did, stopping them on the 2-point conversion.
Coach Maynard, Donald Ware with Box to Row. How you doing?
Doing good, Donald. How you doing?
Doing good. Is Jordan Bentley finally healthy, and is this what you were expecting from him with the 197 yards rushing and then the 4 total touchdowns in the game for him?
Well, this is how we expect Bentley to play. Not necessarily this game that we knew we could rush for 200 yards against them, but, you know, I said at the beginning of the season, you know, the thing with Jordan Bentley is he's been injury prone. And if we can keep him fresh and healthy out throughout the season, I said at the beginning of the season that he would get 1,000 yards. And so he's still on pace to do that. And, you know, he's just a tough runner, man. He's hard to bring down. He has that will. He's a senior, his last Classic. And he just lays all on the line, man. His 4 touchdowns, you know, we had a couple of long passes that got tackled on the 1-yard line. And so, you know, we get that close, it's time to give it to Bentley. And he scored a couple of touchdowns from 1 yard out, and then we threw him a swing pass. He was a check down guy on the swing pass in overtime for his last touchdown. And then he scored one in the first overtime, I believe. So, you know, he's a workhorse. You know, he was just grinding, man. He was breaking tackles. He was dragging jokers. And then it was opening up some holes for him also. So he's just a beast. But, no, we didn't expect him to run for 200 yards. But, you know, when you carry the ball 39 times, you should be around that 200-yard mark if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm just glad he's on my team.
Yeah, no, I know you like to pass a lot. Did the weather dictate that he would carry the ball 39 times?
Well, no, not necessarily. You know, I always said, you know, we're going to try to take what the defense give us, play to the defense weaknesses, and play to our strengths. So, you know, we was running the ball well. And, you know, we didn't get out of our game plan. You know, we was down a couple of touchdowns, and we didn't just start slinging the ball all over the field, even though the weather cleared up the second half. You know, we want to stay balanced. You know, we want to still be able to run the ball and still want to throw the ball around some. In the passing game, we kind of got a lot of big plays out of the passing game and really not a lot of short passes. You know, with that inclement weather, it's hard to just throw it around in all those short RPOs and be as consistent as we've been in the past. So, we kind of took some shots in the passing game and kept handing the ball to Bentley.
All right, and lastly, so is he about as healthy as you're going to be for this time of the year?
Yes, he is. You know, he got some bumps and bruises. You know, he lives in the training room, and, you know, but he's a tough guy. like I said, this is his last route, his senior year, and he's going to leave it all on the field. So, like I said, coming into that week, he needed that week off to kind of heal up a little bit, and so now we give him some more treatment. probably give him tomorrow off, and then he got to be right back in there Wednesday and get ready to go Saturday.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Coach. This is Jim Kleinpeter from The Advocate. Would you talk a little bit about Akil Glass, the season he's having? He's the number one passer in the conference, and what he's gone through this season.
Oh yeah, he's having a great year. He's having a great year. We expected him to have a better year than he had last year. It's kind of like the natural process of a quarterback in the system, and I talked about before Cam Smith, who I had 3 years at Winston, that went 20 touchdown passes, then 33, then 43, and I was hoping Akil would kind of do the same thing when he threw 20-something last year, and he's already at that number this year. So we kind of expect our quarterbacks the next year in the system to continue to develop and get better and better, yards-wise, touchdown-wise, interceptions go down. Just a natural process of the quarterback maturing at that position, and that's what he's doing so far. He's having an outstanding season, and he's the reason, him and Bentley are the reason that we're where we are. And, when you got a quarterback, we always say it, everybody knows you got a quarterback, you got a chance. And, we think we got a good quarterback, and so we'll have a chance in every game that we play.
What are your thoughts on the challenges of playing Southern? What's the biggest challenge here?
Playing Southern? Playing Coach Odom? That's the biggest challenge. Coach Odom does an excellent job of having his guys prepared and ready to play, playing hard. Every yard you get, every score you get is really tough when you play Southern, and you know that. And that's what you get every year. He's going to be right there, man. He just keep doing it year after year. And, he puts up a good record every year. His team's always competitive every year. He has a chance to play for the SWAC every year. It normally comes down to the Bayou on that side a lot of times, and that's Coach Odom. And if they win it, they're usually in. If they lose it, they're usually out. So he just got a good program, man. He runs a good program, and it's always tough. And so we have to be prepared, but we'll be up for the challenge.
What are your impressions of Southern's defense? Y'all got a pretty potent offense, but what are you up against in that defense Southern has?
That defense is good, man. It's good. I still got to watch a couple more games. I watched about 4 or 5 so far, and that defense is good. They're solid. It's tough getting yards on them, running the ball and throwing the ball. They fly around. They hit you. They tough. They have fun out there. So we really got to come together and get a good game plan to attack these guys, and then we got to take care of the ball and take advantage of every opportunity that we get because they don't give you a lot.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince from the Open Mic. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing real good. Congratulations on your big win. I know that means a lot to your fan base and the program. Now, you're on record for saying just being consistent each week. What's the approach and the message that you're giving to your team this week? They're getting off of a huge win, an emotional win, and you got a tall order going into Baton Rouge. What's the message that you're relaying this week?
The same as last week. Every game gets bigger and bigger. So we need to go 1-0 this week to keep everything in perspective and keep everything alive. We need to win out, but we got to start with this week. We got to go 1-0 this week. This game is bigger than last week, even though it was a classic. This week is bigger because we're still trying to play for the SWAC and trying to represent us on our side and get in that championship game. So this is the biggest game of the season right here. Yes, contrary to popular opinion, last week was not the biggest. It was the biggest last week, but now this is the biggest game. So that's what our guys focus on. We got to focus on one at a time this week and Southern this week.
Okay, Coach. With that being said, you're really getting to the heartbeat of your schedule with the games that you have remaining in the season. This is going to be a true measuring test starting this week against Southern to see just what your guys are made of. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. It starts this week with Southern, and then we all know how improved Jackson is, and then you got Alcorn, the big dogs, and Mississippi Valley is beating up on people and right there when they don't. So that team is much improved, and that's not the same old Valley team. So it's no easy games in our schedule. You know, Texas Southern, we went to overtime. You know, Grambling, it was 10-10 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. You know, this week went to 3 overtimes. You know, so it's no easy game on our schedule. You know, but this is because we got Southern and Southern and Alcorn in these last 4. This is the toughest part of our schedule, but it's no easy game on our schedule.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Maynard, as always, we appreciate your time, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Alabama State, where the Alabama State Hornets dropped a 43-41 decision to Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. We'll be joined by head coach Donald Hill-Ely. Coach, do we have Coach Ely on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing versus Alabama A&M.
Well, you know, as Coach Maynard stated earlier, I mean, it was everything that those classics makes itself up to be. I mean, it was competitive from start to finish. You know, a little monsoon, you know, in and out of the game with the weather and things of that nature. But you know, he did a great job of keeping his team playing, and they was able to get out of there with a win. And you know, we had 3 blown coverages, guys just not even around the guy, and gave up 21 points on blown coverages. And you can't play a good team like that with a good quarterback that can see the field and blow coverages. And you know, they were down 14 points coming out the half. Thought that we had an opportunity to get another score, and then we dropped the ball on the 15-yard line going in. You know, so you know, it's one of those ones where, you know, he did a good job stating his game plan. You know, kept feeding it back. You know, and you know, the kid had 200 yards and just, you know, put the game at a pace that they could control. You know, throw the ball down the field when they could. They threw the ball deep in the third. And the kid made a miraculous catch. It was one that wasn't even on SportsCenter, you know, in the rain with one hand. It was unbelievable. Hell, I wanted to see it again. But, you know, it was a game where the guys, you know, they made one more play than we did at the end and got out of there with a victory.
Good morning, Coach Ely. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, Coach, you're about to start a 3-week stretch, man, being away from bags. You just got a permanent bag packed for the next 3 weeks, and it's going to start off at Mississippi Valley. And for some odd reason, might be under the radar, Valley has been a turnover machine on the defense. How do you prepare to go up against them being on the road this weekend?
Well, you know, anybody that plays in Valley knows that, one, the team has gotten a lot better. And more importantly, Valley is just a tough place to play in, you know, from where you stand, our way, and just everything that goes into that, you know, into that area. But, you know, outside of that, you know, they're a very good football team. They, you know, are playing a real good defense, creating turnovers. Offense is doing a good job of getting the ball down the field. So you got to have your I's dotted and T's crossed because it's, you know, everybody, you got to show up to play week in and week out. And, you know, and we know we got our work cut out for us this week.
Now, Coach, as far as health goes, for the most part, your team is pretty healthy going into this contest?
Yeah, for the most part, you know, you figure 8 games in the season, you know, this is where you learn the difference between pain, discomfort, and injury. So, you know, for the pain and discomfort, those guys will be ready, but injury-wise, you know, we really don't have any.
Coach Ely, just want to touch a little bit on the play of Colton Adams. I know you guys were without him to start the season, but last few weeks, rather, he's come on strong for you. He had 13 tackles, you know, and 2.5 tackles for loss. Can you touch on what he's brought to your defense?
You know, anytime you get a kid that's a freshman that come in and you know, and play the way that he's doing, I mean, it's good for us. You know, 13 tackles, and he was going against one of the if not the best tailback in the league. You know, and you know, did a good job. You know, as we say, it was a heavyweight fight in the middle, and those guys were going back and forth with, running and tackling, and it was just a good SWAC football game. It was some good football played, and Bubba, as we call him, did a great job for us in the middle, and we're looking forward to a good rest of his career here at Alabama State.
Hey, Coach, just looking overall in a game like you played, a rivalry game, a game that had a lot of swings of momentum back and forth. When you went back and looked at the film, is there any particular moment in the game when you think, the tide kind of started to turn and momentum started to swing, or did you just see it as back and forth the entire game?
It was, back and forth, and like I said, they did a good job. Coach Maynard does a good job of making sure that the kids are up and ready to go. And as I told the guys, that team wasn't going to lay down. So I think second half we was up, and it was, we didn't make a play. We needed to have made to answer to one of those touchdowns in that second half, and we didn't. And that carried the game into overtime, and overtime was, back and forth with not field goals, but with both teams scoring. And when we got to that last play, it's, one of those ones where, your guy is his guy against my guy, and his guy made a play.
All right, Coach, with that, we always thank you for your time and look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Alcorn State, where the Braves defeated the Southern Jaguars at home by a score of 27-13. We'll be joined by head coach Fred McNair. Do we have Coach McNair on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over the Southern Jaguars.
It just was a hard-fought ball game, as we expected. A team like Southern coming in, halftime 6-3, Southern's up. So we know we had to come back out and play a better second half. Came back out and scored 24 unanswered points there in the second half. It was a hard-fought ball game. The game was played, both sides of the ball played well. Guys came prepared and had for the task, so ended up getting that victory, which is a great win, Coach.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Mike.
All right. Well, congratulations on another win, and it was a special day with the retirement of your brother's number. And I know in the heat of the moment, while you're trying to coach a team, you didn't get a chance to, fully participate nor appreciate the service. But now that you've had a couple of days to go back, have you had a chance to go back and look at that ceremony?
No, not really. I talked to Mom and Steve's wife after the game was over with. They said everything was phenomenal. It went well. Thank Dr. Nave, our president, for doing such a great job of putting that ceremony on, and got a chance to be with them Thursday night during the gala. Fun moment, exciting. A lot of people for the cause, for them guys at fun. They did a great job of putting that event on leading up into the ball game. But much as I wanted to be out there with them, they understood that I had a job to do, and I had to get my guys ready to play for a second half of football. But just talking to them, I think everything went very well. It was a great event. Once again, we thank our president, Dr. May, for doing everything she's done to make it right in the retirement of the jersey.
All right, Coach. And speaking of continuing a job to do, you get a bye week this week, then you have Grambling, another big game coming up. And it's not been about rebuilding for you guys. It's been about reloading. And what are some of your assessments and keys as you face the Tigers in between this bye week?
The biggest thing is we got a lot of work to do still, Mike. Just talking to the team this morning, the team meeting earlier, some of the things we can't do and the things we got to get better at. So we're still a work in progress right now in the middle of the season. We understand that as coaches, I don't think we're clicking on all cylinders to execute the way we should. We're leaving a lot out there during the course of a ball game. So we got to find a way to fix that within the team. And we have to understand, just to play a little bit better what they're playing now.
Now, Coach, my final question for you. You're in a good situation to have with the play of your, I'm saying this loosely, your reserve quarterback, Felix Harper, and Noah. Is Noah healthy enough to play, or is it just because of the outstanding play you've been getting from Felix that you're just going to keep him on the shelf for right now?
Well, right now, Noah's doing everything he can to get back to play. Just kind of doing some maintenance work on him and making sure he's ready. So I think Felix has come in and did an outstanding job. We've been in this situation many times in many years, so I'm kind of accustomed to that and kind of get an understanding what we need to do from that standpoint, how we treat these quarterbacks and the way they're playing. So Felix has done a great job for us since Noah been out. So we just going to continue to do with him what we're doing, teaching him the right thing to do in the course of the football game. So it was a big game for him this past week. Probably the biggest game of his life, playing against the Southern Jaguar team.
Coach McMahon, when you look at your team, one of the areas I know definitely not from you guys and the players on your team is underappreciated, but one of the areas I think that maybe the common fan doesn't get to get a full appreciation of is the consistency in which you guys have played with special teams and led by, what Corey McCullough has been able to do for you guys, punting and kicking the ball. Can you just talk a little bit about what he brings and just being able to have that consistency with a kicker like that?
Well, it's phenomenal, man. And I think he's done a great job this past weekend as far as ball placement and kicking to our coverage where we want to get done. And I always talk to him about it during the course of practice. You work on ball placement, kicking off, punting. Done an excellent job with the field goal this weekend. So he's done a great job of doing what we actually do. That's big for us. When you're able to start, you're kicking off, and you have a team to start inside the 20. That's big-time stuff, and especially on punt, you don't get a lot of punt return in that case. So he's done a phenomenal job as far as ball placement and doing what he needs to do with a big average. I think he averaged like 41 yards a punt this past week. So he's been doing good for us.
And, Coach, just another student-athlete I want to touch on real quick that had a standout performance was Holbert on your defensive front. I think he had 3 sacks, 5 total tackles, and, we saw what you guys were able to do as far as limiting Southern offensively. Can you talk a little bit about Holbert's play?
Yeah, Holbert came in just as a special team guy, backup guy. And actually, this is one of the walk-on kids that we got that's playing the way he's playing now. I thank Coach Hart, defensive end coach, for bringing that kid along the way and getting him to play and understand the schematic part of it to get to where he's at now. So this is a kid that just came on as a walk-on and doing a lot of special team stuff for us and able to skill some of those guys that we got for his playing ball now. And we have stepping up his game and playing well right now. He ended up with 3 sacks, I think, this past weekend.
All right, Coach McNair, as always, thank you for your time, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions dropped a 39-33 decision there in Pine Bluff to the Grambling State Tigers, and we'll be joined by head coach Cedric Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning, Coach. If you could, as always, start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Grambling State.
Great atmosphere is normal. Good home game, last one in a while for the home stand, and just like we talked about, in the previous week, getting prepared for a fight and a good football team and championship caliber football team, and came out and field position early, and Grambling got on the board with a good pass concept, and those guys kind of got things rolling, and we kind of settled in and kind of matched it, and it was back and forth. It was just like what we said. It went from a fight to more of a boxing match. Everything was methodical, chess match. They go up, we go up. They make a big play, show the pause, and our guys settle down and come back and match it, and vice versa. And at the end, we fell one play short. Field position game. I think we might have had a 9-yard punt or 14-yard punt. They capitalized on it. And we just, fell a few plays short, but, great game, great atmosphere. Kudos and shouts out to Coach Fobbs and his unit. Those guys, man, they got champion pedigree for a reason. We took their shots, they took our shots, and, they came right back at us. They, never got rattled. And vice versa, just a good football game, and we finished, we just didn't make enough plays. We great defensive stand for them at the end. Keep us from tying it, and just overall good football game. Really excited about, my kids, the way they played. It was a fight, one of the better teams in this conference, and just for them to be able to go down 14 with 8 minutes left, work their way back in it to get us a win, says a lot about them, in this early stage of us continuing to change this program. But, but you got to also look at that other sideline to see what stopped us from doing it, and a lot of that goes to Coach Fobbs and that championship, football team over there.
Coach Thomas, Donald Ware with Box to Row. How you doing?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Is there a particular play in the game that may have happened that may have prevented you from winning this game?
If I could put my finger on one play, I would say the 9-yard punt. You can't give a good football team field position as such. They're gonna get something out of it. I think that was the play field position wise where we might have been up, and we shanked it, and they scored, and that was huge. You just can't make those kind of plays against championship caliber football teams, especially when you're taking over a program that's starting to find its way how to win. And there were some plays out there that we didn't make. We just made it. And it ain't always about, us per se. Sometimes them plays are being negated from making because of the other football team. And I think, that was one of the situations where we just didn't give ourselves the advantage by kicking it out of bounds.
Is there – so where you are right now, and it's obviously a far cry from where you were last year. Southern loses, so it still gives you sort of a shot maybe to win that Western Division title. Can you sort of speak to that? And still a lot of season left to play.
For us, it's always been more so about the mindset. We never, came in and said, championship as far as holding a trophy up or confetti falling down. It was more so just the mindset of getting these young brothers to understand that you are good enough. And each game that we play is a championship game, and this is the first time anybody in the building is, 5-3 in a long time around here. And none of the seniors has been 5-3 going down the stretch where you got a chance. So, in 18, 19 months, I think that's how long I've been on the job now. For us to be going down this stretch and having a chance says a lot about the coaching staff and these kids who believe in what we're saying. So for us, Jackson is our championship game. We got to make sure that we, come out prepared versus a good football team. But just to be relevant, in these 12, 13 months, man, it says a lot about these kids and the coaching staff.
What concerns you, about Jackson State? I guess you got a chance to maybe had a chance to see the film or maybe see some of the game on Thursday.
Good football team, good physical football team. But when you look at that journey, here's a team that lost to a Division II school where they could have hung it up and lost some close games early, but then bounced back. And you talk about the character of playing a Prairie View team after you lose a practice day, play an overtime, 2 overtime game against your rival, get on the road and then win the overtime game. That says a lot about a team's character, and most of that comes from the leadership. Coach has done a great job, over there. And those are some of the things. Anytime you're dealing with kids with intestinal fortitude, they really care. You can kind of throw the eggs and O's out the window after a while, and then you just got to come down to, hey, am I going to be man enough to let you defeat me, or can I impose my will on you?
Appreciate it, Coach.
Problem.
Good morning, Coach Thomas. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Oh, blessed and highly favored as well, sir. Look, since the day that you accepted this job at the Golden Lions, you spoke highly and consistently about changing the culture. And I just heard you mention that it's been a long time since someone would walk around on that campus with a 5-3 record at this late in the season. Do you feel that the culture message has been accepted, and how much further do you think you have to go with that message being delivered for Monty?
You know, without a doubt, it's being, you know, they all in. I mean, here's a ball club against a championship football team, goes down 14 with 7 minutes, and, you know, everybody excited. You know, we even had some fans get up, you know, and leave. And I'm just blessed that the people that was here when I was here, they didn't leave on me. You know, they stayed and gave me the opportunity to come back and be the 20th head coach. But to watch them, you know, stay poised and stay within the football game and actually believe that they was going to win the football game and actually giving themselves a chance to win the football game first and whatever on the 9, you know, says a lot about the culture. You know, it has changed. And now we just got to make those plays, you know. I've been a part of the resurrection of programs, and sometimes it just don't fall your way. But it's some intricate things inside of the game that, you know, you just got to take care of when you talk about being in the elites with the Southerns, the Alcorns, the Gremlins, and some of those upper echelons teams that's consistently done it where we like to be. And we didn't make those plays. And we just got to go forward. Hey, we got to put ourselves in those situations that when those plays shows up, you know, we can maximize and take advantage of it.
Now, I know Patrick had 3 turnovers, but he also had an outstanding game with 4 touchdowns, 289 yards. Speak on his play, Coach, and what was the message you had for him at the end of that game?
You know, just keep throwing it. You know, keep throwing it. You know, 2 of those, you know, one come at the end. You get 2 batted down, and, you know, one on a big-time play by, I think that's 29, the corner. He got 3 pick sixes on the year, bad read, you know, kind of want to stay away from that guy. But, you know, other than that, the 2 tip balls, and then he come back after that, throw you know, and get the 6 points back, you know, in a good methodical drive. So he's playing his tail off, and he's doing, you know, everything that Coach Gamble and Coach Gales is, you know, teaching him. And he's leading us, and he's doing a good job with his decision-making, you know, and he gives us a great chance to win every Saturday, and we expect the same thing going forward.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Oh, you're welcome.
Coach Thomas, from a defensive perspective, you guys held them for, I think, 44 total rushing yards. I know sometimes the flow of the game dictates what teams will try to do from a, you know, a throwing and passing perspective. But was there anything when you look back that you felt like your team did exceptionally well to be able to limit them so much on the rush?
It was just a fight. You know, we matched intensity. Just like what we said, it wasn't, you know, when you've been dealing with coaches as long as we have, you know, you can throw the X's and O's out the window, you know. So they know what we do. We knew what they did. We did well, and it was just a fight, you know, and both teams, you know, did a good job of it. And what they did was they took advantage of what we didn't do in the passing game. And so that was a part of the chess match of it, of just being able to, you know, make them one-dimensional. And it was a good job of them making the adjustment to be able to be efficient throwing the football. You know, but it was just all that clean football game, 8 penalties, tough, you know, back and forth. And, you know, we just, you know, fell a little short.
Hey, Coach Eric Taylor, Democrat Gazette. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Good deal. I know you mentioned last week that a lot of times these guys may play better on the road as opposed to being at home where they can block out the distractions and things like that. How are you expecting these guys to respond playing at Jackson this weekend, another tough venue?
I expect them to get their butts up off the turf and get ready to go to work. You know, I can't wait to get out here in a minute and fly around with them, because that's the testament of a good football team that's being led well, and we pride ourselves as leaders on this coaching staff to be a direct reflection of this football team. So we expect them to, you know, put it behind them, get on the road, and lock ourselves in this hotel room and kind of focus in. You know, we've been at home for a while now, so we get a chance to kind of get isolated and kind of get locked in versus a really good Jackson team that's hot right now. You know, but as a staff, we kind of like being on the road. It kind of gets us away from, you know, our setup. We don't have the luxury to put them in hotels, you know, over the weekend. So, you know, it's a way for us to kind of get away from the distractions and just kind of really focus in. So we're excited about, you know, getting on the road and having a good week of preparation to go play a good and, you know, good, exciting Jackson team.
Coach Thomas, can you speak to the resiliency of your team? You mentioned it was a back-and-forth game. Was it easy for them to kind of just not finished. You talked about different times the team coming back, overcoming adversity, and the adversity they faced on Saturday was an easy way down against the Grambling team. They showed that fight in the program you've been trying to build here.
Well, you can't say enough of them. Here you got a senior class that won 5 games in 5 years, and they fighting their tails off when, down, up, cold, hot, So, we don't have to keep, putting emphasis on changing the culture. I think that's understood now. But it's always, something in the facet of it that's going to come up that we'll have to deal with or call it. But, just excited about these young brothers that believe in that, which I've seen now. And, just fighting their tails off, not only on the football field, but it's a direct reflection of what they're doing in the classroom and all over this great institution. So, I can't say enough about them and the coaching staff, for believing in us and continue to work and get better. And we got another one coming up where, hey, now the testament would be, hey, after you be in the fight and in a real 12-round methodical, boxing exhibition, can you get on the road and get off the mat when you don't get the decision and do it again? And there ain't no doubt in my mind we'll get them prepared to be able to do that when we head to Jackson.
Coach Thomas, as always, we appreciate your time, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Grambling State, where the Tigers defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff on the road by a score of 39-33. We'll be joined by head coach Broderick Fobbs. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you for taking some time to join us. As always, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's most recent outing at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, I tell you, it was a great atmosphere, for football. Really, really hard-fought football game. I mean, what Coach Thomas has done with that ball club is just really, been amazing. The players that he's brought in and how hard they play and how physical they are, and it was definitely a tough fight, and it basically you can kind of flip a coin of what happened. I think a couple mistakes here or there. It could have gone the other way, but, we were fortunate, to come out with the victory. They had a couple turnovers, one of them, boneheaded play. Another one, kid made a really good play on the ball, and they had their opportunities. And, we just did a good job of getting our hands up when we needed to and creating a turnover and made the play. That's basically it. So, just fortunate situation we in, just got to keep working and get better.
Good morning, Coach Fobbs. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you, sir?
Right. How you doing, Mr. Prince?
I'm doing real good, man. Congratulations on your win. Defense was opportunistic on this past weekend, and you had a good, solid game from hit bottom. Would you still say you're trying to find the complete running game to bring about a balance from your offensive attack?
I mean, of course, we made some mistakes, but I think, we also made some plays as well. They were doing a really good job of taking away some things that we do well, and we're fortunate to make some plays in the passing game. Of course, we want to be the type of team that can, that can be dominant in more than one area. And, our job is continue to work at it and continue to develop and continue to grow so that we can do that. So, basically, that's it.
Now, Coach, when you look at your schedule, it can be confusing to some. You got 3 wins in a row, although 2 of them were other SWAC opponents. They really don't count on your overall record. But can you feel the momentum for your team shifting over, if you would, as you get ready to take on Texas Southern this weekend?
Well, I can't say that I feel like we have gotten some momentum. But, at the end of the day, we still have to perform and play the way we're capable of playing, and it starts in practice and really executing, what we want to do in practice. And that's the whole point. You have to gain that confidence in practice so that you're confident on Saturday of doing what you are capable of doing. And that's basically it in a nutshell, and that's the focus, for this particular week.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Coach Fobbs, obviously you guys will get an opportunity to stay at home this upcoming week as you host Texas Southern. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from those guys on what you've been able to observe on film so far?
Very talented, football team. Everyone, wants to point to their record, but, one thing that I've always, understood is, a wounded warrior is the most dangerous warrior. They're going to do whatever they need to do to get a victory, and they have really good players, really good receiver play, good quarterback play, really good defensively as far as playing hard. They've had, their opportunities here, there, and in several games this season, and we just have to do a really good job of playing the way we're capable of playing, and being focused this week. Anytime you go into a homecoming week, coaches, kind of uncomfortable about it, because there's so much going on. But like I told my kids on yesterday, homecoming is for people that's coming home. If you're already at home, then it's not homecoming. So for us, it's about doing what we need to do and focusing on what we need to focus on so that we can play the type of football that we want to play. Our job is to continue to scratch red edges, to get better and better. Every week. One thing I'm a firm believer in is what you see on film is your players and team talking to you, and it's up to you to make sure that you get it corrected or try to improve it as much as you possibly can, along with continuing to develop and gel as a team. So that's really what we always strive to do, regardless of the situation that we've been in the past or presently or in the future. So that's just the only way we go about doing things.
Hey, Coach Fowle, just jumping back to the game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, looking at how the game, a back-and-forth affair, but late there in the fourth, I think maybe at the 8-minute mark, Joseph McWilliams had that 55-yard interception that he returned all the way back. Can you talk a little bit about just the significance of that play, being able to go up another score on him?
Well, it was big. It kind of shifted the momentum in our favor, but like Coach Thomas, says, you can definitely tell that they're a mentally tough football team. You can definitely tell that they're also a physically tough football team as well, because anybody could have just kind of laid down at that moment, but that's championship football at its finest. When you continue to fight, for the entire duration of the game. And that's why my hat's off to them as well, because they gave themselves a chance to win the football game. And as a coach, that's really all you can do. We can't go out there and make the plays, catch them or run them or throw them or tackle or bat balls down. We can't do any of that. Our job is just instilling in the right values so that they can, take advantage of the situation when the opportunity presents itself. And, and my kids were fortunate. We were fortunate to have that situation happen for us, and that's how it goes sometimes.
Hey, Coach, just last question for me on special teams. I know Mendez, I think, punted 7 times and averaged almost 40 yards a punt with a long of, I think, 54 yards, and placed 2 of those inside the 20. How big just was his performance for special teams for you guys?
Well, it's always big. That's a phase of the game that can kind of tilt the momentum or field in your favor, and you want to make sure that you're playing the best at those particular spots so that you can take advantage of it. And field position is always big. And if you look at that ball game, there were a couple opportunities where we downed a punt inside their 1-yard line and got a safety out of it. But then also we punted and backed them up, which forces teams to drive the length of the field. So special teams is always big, and I think it's the glue that holds offense and defense together.
Coach Fobbs, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Jackson State, where the Tigers defeated the Prairie View A&M Panthers on the road by a score of 31-28, and we'll be joined by head coach John Hendrick. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. If you could please, as always, just start us out with an opening comment about your team's big overtime road win at Prairie View A&M.
Well, it was a really hard-fought game against a good football team. We were very fortunate to come out of it with a win. I'm really proud of how our kids kept fighting and kept staying in there, and we were able to pull it out at the end. Prairie View, they
put some yards up on us. We put some yards up on them, but it was really a good competitive football game.
Good morning, Coach Hendry. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm blessed. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing real good, sir. Look, as you stated, both of you guys were able to put up yards, and you prevailed at the end. In particular, in the overtime, you ran 10 plays, and out of those 10 plays, 9 of them were runs. What were you seeing at that time and that point of the game that made you stick to the run like you were?
Well, we felt we could run the ball on them, and we felt that we had an opportunity to make some headway and make some yardage running it. So we put our running quarterback in the game, and that's exactly what we did. We just ran the ball, and we thought that we could get that done.
Okay, now, Coach, I know as far as the heart stress level, 2 consecutive overtime wins, man, you're going to have to take some rest after a while, huh?
No, that's football. I mean, we're a team that's growing, that's learning how to win, that's changing our personality and our persona to be culturally correct in the way that we need to be. And so we're going to have hard-fought games. And so I'm prepared for that, and I expect all of them to be like that. Hopefully not overtime, though.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach. Now, as you get focused now, 2 thrilling wins for you, what's the gauge now for your next opponent coming up, and what are you going to see some of the keys for you to keep your streak rolling?
Well, we got to play a good football team. Pine Bluff does a great job offensively. They have a great plan. They have 2 really good running backs. They have a couple of really good receivers. And their quarterbacks are playing extremely well right now, so they're going to be a handful of us defensively to stop. And then defensively, they're playing really solid, sound football. And they're also really playing really good in the kicking game. You know, they've got a really good punt returner in Ralph, and then Keyshawn Williams is doing a great job in the kickoff return game for them, and so is Ralph. So, we've got our hands full. We've got to be really prepared to be really, really solid in all 3 stages of the game.
All right, Coach. And I know it's the age-old question, probably one of the ones that you're probably tired of hearing about the most, but who is going to be your starter projected as we speak today going into this game?
The same guy that started the last game. Same guy that started the last game.
Coach Hendry, just want to touch a little bit about the play of 2 of your student-athletes that I think kind of stood out when you look at their performances at Prairie View. Keontae Hampton had 10 tackles, 8 solos. I think 3 of them were actually tackles for loss with a sack. And he was SWAC Defensive Player of the Week last week at Valley and followed up with another exceptional performance. Can you just talk a little bit about what he did in that game?
Well, he's done that in every game. You know, he's just beginning to get noticed for what kind of a football player he is. He's the leader of our defense. He's the guy that gets us lined up. He makes all our checks, and he goes out. He makes tackles. He's just got a great knack for being where the ball is, and I'm glad he's on our side. And his performance was big for us because he made a lot of plays in key situations last Thursday night that really helped us win the football game.
And, Coach, special teams-wise, Adrian Salazar, just with some big kicks around the board. Can you talk a little bit about how he's been kicking the ball for you?
Yeah, well, Adrian took a lot of slack early in the year because he missed some kicks. But he's caught his rhythm now over the past couple of games and got the little quirks that problems he had with his kicking out fixed. And now he's really kicking the ball solid, and we're really glad he is because we needed every point that we could get last Thursday night.
Coach Hendrick, as always, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Mississippi Valley State, where the Delta Devils got a 35-14 win over the Texas Southern Tigers there at home. We'll be joined by head coach Vincent Dancy. Do we have Coach Dancy on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. As always, if you could please start us out with an opening comment about your team's big win there at home over Texas Southern.
Thought we faced a real good, solid football team. Coach McKinney does a great job with those guys, and man, they got a lot of transfers on their side of the ball. So I thought our guys came out and we played well. For a second game in a row, I thought we was consistent and efficient enough offensively to move the ball on those guys and sustain drives and put it in the end zone. And defensively came up big for us. Creating 6 turnovers, 3 sacks. I thought those guys did a great job of giving the offense multiple chances to score. But overall, a great team effort, and I'm just proud of these guys and the way they pulled it off.
Good morning, Coach Dancy. Mike Prince. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations on the win. I know you are a defensive guy. This past performance on your defense, would you say this was probably the most complete game that you've played all season?
Complete, Mike. I wouldn't say complete. Yeah, I know the turnovers and the sacks. It plays a tremendous part in our defense. But we still got a lot of improvement, I think, to do. I still gave up like 200+ yards in total offense. So great performance, of course. But I don't think that was one of our better games when you're talking about the total number of yards. But turnovers, yes, we all are pleased with the turnovers, but I think we could be more sturdy on the ground when it comes to the ground game and stopping people in the run.
Okay, it's no secret that the turnover +5 for you guys this season has been a tremendous turnaround. What would you attribute that to, Coach?
Just guys playing hard, coming out to practice. We practice it every day, so I don't expect nothing different in the game. I always tell my guys, you practice how you're going to play. And if you go out and you work hard at practice, good things happen for you on Saturday. But we just practice it, man, and the focus level at practice. And I credit these guys on, the way they come out and work hard. And, man, they do good things, and I see good things are happening for them throughout the course of this season, especially defense when it comes to turnovers. And that's something we practice on and we emphasize every day in practice.
Okay, and when you talk about the emphasis, Bryant didn't have to throw as much. He was efficient in his throwing, but he and Johnson had some pretty open lanes to run through on this past Saturday.
Yeah, I thought we stayed on track with the game plan. We knew the weather, the elements weren't going to be at our favor when you're talking about passing the ball. So we just wanted to stick with the game plan, and we know we had to get out early before the field just really got real bad. We wanted to get out early and jump on those guys, and I thought that, those two guys performed well, toting the ball 52 times and, not putting the ball on the ground not once. I thought it was a great job. Just fundamentals and techniques. So, give thanks to my coaches for going out working as hard this week, knowing that the element's going to be bad and emphasizing, fundamentals and techniques throughout the week. And the guys knowing what we had to do, we knew we was going to run the ball and to come out and run it 52 times and to have success like that, man, I'm really proud of those guys and the guys up front as well.
Now, it's the beginning of a 3-game home stretch. Of course, your next opponent will be Alabama State. What are you going to see some of the keys for Valley to try to extend their winning ways here?
Oh, man, to win, Mike, that's the key. But, Coach Eli's done a great job with that program, for the past 2 years. And, man, I know they coming in off a tough loss and, but they got to come here to Valley, man. I think it's one of the hardest, most difficult places to play in our conference. So, going to be a great challenge for us. It's an Eastern Conference game, so it's a big game for us. And we just look forward to the matchup and the challenge.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Mike.
Coach, only the question I had just as far as I know we talked a little bit about defensively, what you guys do forcing turnovers, but something that I've noticed, watching you guys, even when I watched you guys play Incarnate Word earlier in the year, was just the amount of pressure that you're able to get with your front four there, your defensive line. They've been outstanding all year. Can you touch on their play, not just in this past game, but just what they've been able to do all season?
I can't say enough about those guys, man. I think that's the leading core of our defense. The front four, they've been creating, they've been getting pressure, pushing the pocket on quarterbacks, being able to stop the run with those 4 guys, man. They've been remarkable Just the Jerry Garner, the Ray Taylors, the Eric Powell, all of them. And, they're in that top statistical category for something when it comes to defense. So, man, I just thank those guys for the way they come out and prepare. And they're older guys, so they help us on the back end with those younger guys, man. And they are the legit guys on this team.
All right, Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. So while we do have a break in the call, while we have some time here to try to reach out to Coach Dooley, we will take this opportunity to make an announcement on our SWAC Players of the Week for Week 9. Alabama A&M's Jordan Bentley, Jackson State's Keontae Hampton, Alcorn State's Malik Hobart, and Corey McCullough, along with Alabama State's Colton Adams, were all named Southwestern Athletic Conference Football Players of the Week for Week 9 of the season for their outstanding play this past week. Jordan Bentley accounted for 206 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns as Alabama A&M topped rival Alabama State 43-41 in 3 overtimes Saturday afternoon in the Magic City Classic. Bentley has been named the SWAC Offensive Player of the Week after leading the Bulldogs on the ground, rushing for a season-high 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also caught a 6-yard reception for a touchdown. Defensive Player of the Week, we have co-defensive players of the week for Week 9 from Jackson State. Is none other than Keontae Hampton. Hampton followed up a solid outing this past week with another impressive performance against the Prairie View A&M Panthers live on Thursday on ESPNU. He finished the game with 11 tackles, highlighted by 9 solo stops and 3 sacks in Jackson State's 38-35 overtime win over the Panthers. Co-defensive player of the week, Malik Hobart from Alcorn State. Hobart became the first Brave to wrap up 3 sacks in a single game. He did so Saturday in Alcorn State's 27-13 win over Southern to help the Braves stay unbeaten in SWAC play. Hobart also recorded 5 tackles and was a part of a defense that limited the Jaguars to just 13 points. Specialist, Alcorn State's Corey McCullough. McCullough connected on a pair of field goals and totaled 8 points. Gresham 9 points in Alcorn State's 27-13 win over Southern on Saturday. He was 2 for 2 in field goals as he converted from 37 and 31 yards out, respectively. He also punted the ball twice for an average of 41 yards per punt, including placing 1 punt inside of the 20-yard line. And our SWAC newcomer of the week for Week 9, Alabama State linebacker Colton Adams. Adams led Alabama State with a game-high 13 tackles in the overtime loss to Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. He finished the game with 5 solo stops and also recorded 2.5 tackles for loss. The freshman forced a fumble and recorded 1 quarterback hurry, as well as having 3 knockdowns of Alabama A&M's QB. The freshman has played in 3 games this season after missing the first 4 and has led the Hornets in tackles each week. With that, we will now go to Prairie View A&M, where the Panthers dropped a 38-35 decision to the Jackson State Tigers, and we'll be joined by head coach Eric Dooley. Do we have Coach Dooley on the line?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Hey, great, Coach. Thanks so much for asking, and thank you for joining us on the call. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to play against a good football team. I thought a well-coached football team. Coach Hendricks does a good job, and it was a great day to play some college football. I thought both teams fought hard. I thought we fought hard. Of course, in that type of battle, someone is going to come up short, and unfortunately, we came up short. But I do like the W's, the wins, and the losses is not adding up to what type of team that I think I have. But I'm very happy with my team, and things are heading in the right direction. We just got to keep fighting and understand the situation that we're in, and continue to play well.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing real good. What's the status as far as health-wise with Morton? Is he okay right now, or is he still out being diagnosed?
Well, he's good. Fortunate enough, we got a open date this weekend right here, so he's just coming along right now. Just a strain, nothing real serious or anything to be worried about. He'll be ready to go out. So he did some things this on yesterday, but just a little strain injury, so he should be fine.
Okay. With that being said, are you going to possibly beef up the rotation with Connolly and Starks just in case he's not able to go next week?
Oh, absolutely. We feel we got two capable young men behind him that can do the job. Of course, you want your senior and your starter to finish it out, but if that seems to be the case, we feel real comfortable with either one of those guys. So we'll continue to work that rotation as we do in every practice. So, those guys still get a significant amount of reps during the week, so they'll be prepared if we have to go in that direction.
Okay. Now, Coach, I heard you made mention in your opening statement that the record is not indicating the team that you feel that you have. The team that you feel that you have compared to the record that's being displayed, what do you see, and then can you explain possibly what the missing link would be?
Well, I think we took the steps and we did some good things. Of course, we had some early victories in some key games, but now I think the team is at the threshold right now, understanding how to win. We battle. We're going to battle for 60 minutes. The one thing I can say about my football team, they're never going to quit. If you're going to win the game, you got to beat them. No question about that, and I'm pleased with that part of it. But now we got to get over that whole, when we get into those close ball games, we got to be able to edge it out and win that game. And now it becomes a solid football team.
Okay, and what are some of the, I guess, because this point is about mental, it's not the physical. It's obvious that the talent is there. What part of the mental approach can be implemented at this part of the season to help the guys to fight their way through this?
Well, the mental part of it right now, we still have an opportunity to have a winning season. Is it what we set out to do? Absolutely not. But, you got to take it the way that it is right now. We just got to play. It's for the pride of your university. It's for the pride of where you play football at, where you chose to come and get your education for the next 4 to 5 years of your life. This is your resume. So those guys understand that, and, those guys, they're going to fight. They're going to fight. There's no question about that. So we understand where we are and what needs to be done. So we're just going to keep fighting, and each game come up, we're going to play it as this is our last game.
Now, I know that there's a bye week this week, but your next opponent will be Pine Bluff. And I know you still got a lot of game planning to do, but what are you seeing some of the keys that you're going to have to address in order to have success against Pine Bluff coming up during this bye?
It's a different football team, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's a football team that that you can see where they have gotten so much better in the things that they're doing. Not saying that, a lot of things in athletics, we dictate things on W's and L's, but, they have a good football team. They're playing some exciting. Their offense is real explosive as well. Their defense is playing sound, and, the special team is doing the things that they should do. So we know we're going to have some challenges right here. I said it, and I'll continue to say it, that this conference is very, very competitive in every game that you play. So it's not, we know those years. Sometimes you can go into a season knowing that, that should be automatic, but there's no such thing as an automatic here. You have to play for 60 minutes in every team that you play in this conference, and that's a tribute to where the Southwestern Athletic Conference is going. But Pine Bluff is a good football team. Coached by Coach Cedric Thomas. You can see that he's trying to change the culture down there, and those guys are doing a great job.
Okay, Coach, my final question would be this. It's not the season is over, but, your seniors, they had some high expectations. What's the message that you're giving to these guys right now to finish strong for the remaining games? And, anything could happen with enough football to be played. But what's the message you're delivering to your seniors in particular as you go down the stretch?
Well, like I said, once again, when you put that purple and gold on and you wear those letters, you represent someone. So now you got to go out regardless of what has happened in the past. We don't look in that rearview mirror. We got to move forward. And I want them to understand you got to go out. You're going to be remembered by the way that you go out. Right now, we got to play as if we have an opportunity, because you never know. The season still it's a huge season right now, a lot of football to be played. And, we always like our chances. But just take care of our part. Just take care of our part and play sound football, play for 60 minutes. And what's going to take place is going to take place regardless. Guards already have a plan for what should happen. So we feel good about it. Those guys understand they got to end on a good note. They got to continue to fight, and they got to leave a foundation. They got to leave the foundation of what Prairie View is going to be, who we're going to be.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, just two student athletes would like to get you to get a couple comments from you on that. Obviously, Tucker does what Tucker does, 18 carries, 159 yards for 3 touchdowns. And then another player that stood out was just Tony Mullins. He only had 3 receptions, but 2 of them were for touchdowns, and he had that big one for 63 yards. Can you touch on both of their play offensively for you guys this past game?
Yes, I thought Tony Mullins, he's been clutch for us all year. You know, he come up with the big plays. He does a lot of good things. You know, it's just fortunate enough that I have opportunity to get this young man here. He's a guy that's right here from Katy, so he understands the magnitude of playing football in Texas. He does a fine job. He just comes to work. He comes to work, and he, he works hard every day that he does everything that he does. So I'm pleased to have him on the team, and I don't know if I can say enough about Dwanye Tucker. He's a guy that makes everything go for the offense, that makes everything go for the team. He's that guy that you know when he's out on the field, there's working going on, and if you're around him, he's going to make you better. So he's that guy that I'm happy to have on my team, and we just got to take this year right now and let him finish it off strong. He's having a good season, but the thing is, I know what he wants, so we're going to continue to fight for that. But having those two men, young men on our team, it's an honor for me to coach those guys and just continue to do what we do.
And, Coach, just on the defensive side of the ball, Story Jackson, the stat line, when you look at it, is just unbelievable. 17 tackles, 9 solos, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, and 2 quarterback hurries. What did you see from him defensively?
You know what? I saw Story Jackson come back, because Story started out the year with us as our starting linebacker and got banged up a little bit where he couldn't play a couple of games. So, to see that young man out there flying around and making tackles like he started off was an honor once again, to know that he was back and ready to play. So that's good. And, I know they come back for another year, so it looks real good. It's coming on to be a great opportunity for this young man as well as for our football team.
And, Coach, one more young man defensively, Trayshawn Smith. He had 15 tackles, 13 were assisted, but he just always seemed like he was around the ball. Is that what you got?
Yes, absolutely. And I knew you was going to mention that young man's name before you even said it. And the smile came on my face because, without Story Jackson coming back, he's been out leading tackle for the last 4 or 5 games. So those 2 young men doing a great job for us. Just an honor to have those guys here. Those guys continue to work to get better. They know what needs to be done, and I think our young men are locked in and ready to get it done.
Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time, sir, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to the Southern Jaguars, where the Jags dropped a 27-13 decision at Alcorn State this past week, and we'll be joined by head coach Odoms. Do we have Coach Odoms on the line?
Yes, it's Coach Odoms.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you for taking some time to join us. If you could, please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Alcorn State.
We knew it was going to be a tough football game. I really thought it was a football game our guys were very prepared and ready to go and compete in. But Coach Manera does a great job. They football team know how to win, and you got to know how to win those kind of games. We didn't make enough plays, I thought, in the first half. I thought we gave ourselves a good chance to start the football game out the right way. Their defense was dominant in the first half. Our defense was dominant in the first half. And then second half, it come down to which team going to make some plays. They made more plays in the second half. Cedars did an outstanding job of throwing the football, and the receivers did an outstanding job of catching the football. We did what we went into the football game to do. We stopped the run, and I think this is the best run defense we played against those guys. And since I've probably been here, I thought if we could hold them guys to 100 yards or less rushing, you would have a chance to win a football game. Well, they probably thought the same thing. If they could hold us to 100 yards or less rushing, you can win the football game. Well, we held them to 100. I think they held us to 70-something yards, and that's the difference in the football game. And we didn't make enough plays in the passing game to give ourselves a chance on offense. And at the end of the day, we got beat by for our football team that in the end made more plays. I thought it was a competitive football game, always a great environment. We were right there. That game was never out of reach, but you got to make some plays. It comes down to penalties and turnovers, and when you're on the opposite side in those categories, you usually lose football games, and that was the deciding factor. And, it's tough, but at the end of the day, like I tell our guys, we're guaranteed 60 minutes. What we do with them is solely up to us. We never get too high. We never get too low after victory or defeat. At the end of the day, we got another game to get ready for, and we're going to need to be ready to play because we got a good Alabama A&M football team coming in here.
Okay, yeah, this is Jim Klein. Peter, just wanted you to talk a little bit about Alabama A&M and what the challenge is facing them.
Well, they're a good football team. I think Glass and Bentley are two very good football players that have been in that program, and you can see that they're getting better. Coach Manning has done a fantastic job since taking over. It's going to be a hard-nosed football game. They're very talented. Offensively, they have some guys that can play. They can stretch the field. They can run the football. And defensively, they got a new defensive coordinator this year who's really getting them better each and every week. They just come off a great win, and I think triple overtime to give themselves a chance to win the Magic City Classic, and that's always a big game on that side. So, we're going to play against a really good football team that's very talented, and we're going to need to be ready to play at home.
Coach, can you talk about anything that you might have seen on film from the Alcorn State game? Anything that pleased you or displeased you?
I thought we had our chances. We wasn't able to get off the field on third down on defense, and not because we weren't stopping them. They converted at least 4 third downs on penalties. And to me, that's the difference in the ball game. You're extending drives, 11 penalties. That's what stands out. That's what's displeasing. You go back-to-back games, 3 penalties, 4 penalties, and then this game you get 11 penalties. And it's like a whole different team showed up. And at the end of the day, you can't make penalties and allow a team to stay on the field. I thought third down offense, we was good. Our offense was able to stay on the field. We had a 21-play drive, 15-play drive. We just wasn't consistent enough to beat a very good football team.
What about the quarterback situation? Do you have any changes there, or are you going to proceed forward like you did against Alcorn?
Well, no, I think, we're going to figure it out, and we'll go with a starter, and the other guy will be ready if need be. But I think we'll decide that as we get closer to Wednesday or Thursday. But if we had to play today, that would probably be Daniels. But since we don't play today, it will play itself out in practice.
Coach, good morning to you. This is Ty Miller.
Good morning, Ty. How you doing?
I'm good, Coach. Can you talk about that 10-minute drive you had in the second half, and is that something you want to duplicate the rest of the season, if you can, in terms of possessing the football for that long stretch of time?
Well, I really, we've had drives like that, and that's efficient. That's offense efficiency, and when our guys are locked in and executing a defense, you're going to give up something. It's whether or not the offense go recognize it and attack it and take what the defense give them. And I really thought both our quarterbacks played really well and gave us a chance to win the football game. But at the end of the day, you're moving the football down the field, and all of a sudden you go 1st and 15 because you may false start. And see, those are the things that really lead to you not being able to execute at a high rate. I think when you can control the football, it gives you a chance to rest your defense, and it gives you a chance to keep an explosive offense off the field. And I really think that those drives are really who we are, and we'll look at those and we'll get better. But I think at the end of the day, it's a testament to really the kind of players we have on offense and our efficiency that we're able to have a 15-play and 21-play drive.
Coach, I'm sure you're familiar with Akil Glass and Jordan Bentley, so can you give us your assessment of both players?
Very good football players, and there will be a test. And I think anybody that's getting ready for Alabama A&M will look at those two guys and say they're the reason they're successful, and they're the reason the program is turned around. and they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, Coach Maynard, he's a winner. It's just only going to take him a amount of time, but he got that program going in the right direction, and those young men are a reflection of him. And a former quarterback himself, I think you get a chance to see what kind of leader he wanted at that position, and Glass is that guy. I think he's done a fantastic job since taking over as a starting quarterback. And when you can run the football and throw the football, you got a chance to be successful on Saturdays.
Does it take on added meaning that this is homecoming weekend? Normally, homecoming is not against opponents of such a worthy stature, but I know the schedule was set in advance, but does it take on a different meaning with Alabama A&M coming in, and it's a crucial game for you?
I mean, it's the next game. We understand how important homecoming is to family, friends, alumni, and that's who it's for. But we got to take care of business on the field. I mean, I'm quite sure Coach Mann is probably trying to use his motivation to his team, but I mean, we don't set the opponent. We just get ready for whoever it is, and we got to get ready to play to the best of our ability and give ourselves a chance to win a football game.
Coach Odoms, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. This past week, the Texas Southern Tigers dropped a 35-14 decision at Mississippi Valley State. With that, we'll now be joined by head coach Clarence McKinney. Do we have Coach McKinney on?
Coach McKinney's here.
Hey, good morning, Coach McKinney. If you could, first off, thank you for joining us. And if you could please just take a minute to give us an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, went on the road to Mississippi Valley State, lost a tough one. Defensively, I thought we played well enough to probably win the game, but offensively, we turned the ball over 6 times, and anytime you turn the ball over 6 times, you're going to hurt your chances of opportunities to win the game. Not only did we turn it over 6 times, we gave up 16 points on turnovers, and really shot ourselves in the foot. Mississippi Valley did a great job of keeping the ball and keeping the offense off the field. Tough loss for us.
Coach, just looking at the stat line from the game defensively, I know you said you thought you guys played well enough to get out of there with a win, but one player who stood out, 2 players actually that stood out, Patrick Howell finished the game, 8 solo stops, 11 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and he was credited with a breakup. Can you talk a little bit about his performance defensively?
Yeah, Patrick Hall's been playing really well for us defensively, and this past weekend was a lot of what we've grown to see from him. Leading the team in tackles, playing tremendously well. You know, he's probably one of our leaders, if not the leader of our defense. So, we like to have Patrick out there, and we think he's doing a tremendous job for us.
And Coach, Vermonte Pippins had 10 total tackles, 7 solos. What did you see from his performance?
True freshman Vermonte Pippins is a guy who came in here ready to play. He's been really a pleasant surprise for us. Comes out of a great program in DeSoto High School, and he's just stepped in and stepped up where we've needed him. And for him to have that many tackles is just a testament to how hard he's worked and how good of a football player he is.
Hey, Coach, DeAndre Johnson, he did return this past week. We saw I think it was 4 for 11. What did you see after him being out these past few weeks? I know there'll be a process of him getting back into the swing of it, but what were you able to see in his return?
But, his timing with the receivers was a little off just because he hadn't been able to practice for a few weeks. He's got to get back comfortable with what we're asking him to do within the offense and get back on the same page with the receivers. He was playing tremendously well before he got injured, and now it's just going to take him some time to get back on the right page with those guys.
And Coach McKinney, obviously this week you guys will face Grambling State on the road. Over the years, this matchup has been very highly contested. I think even a few years back, just the rivalry between the two programs, I think, has breeded a really competitive atmosphere. Can you preview that matchup at Grambling State for us?
Yeah, when I look at the video of Grambling State, I see a team full of a tremendous amount of athletes. They play extremely hard, both offensively and defensively. Have some playmakers on offense. The D-line is probably, the best, if not one of the best D-lines that we'll see all year. And it's going to be an uphill battle. Our guys have a challenge ahead of them.
Coach McKinney, as always, thank you for taking some time to jump on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week. This will conclude our call for Monday, October 28th. Thank you to all of the media, coaches that took the opportunity to join us on the call. As always, for the latest updated news about Southwestern Athletic Conference football, please visit us on our official website at www.swac.org. Once again, that is www.swac.org. We will look forward to speaking with everyone again next week on our weekly teleconference. Thank you.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.